Napa Street runs along the south side of Sonoma's 8-acre plaza. On this map from the 1880s, Napa Street is also called United States Street. The reason being, U.S. Army soldiers stationed here during the Mexican-American War, like many people even today, thought Sonoma was a great place to live. So they stayed and started businesses along this street. The Pioneer Saloon stood at Napa and First Street East, and the Union Hotel anchored Napa and First Street West. You could get a drink at both, but the Union Hotel also had a dining room and bedrooms upstairs. Union Hall, next door, had one of the first stages in town for music and theater. Mike Acker portrays Napa Street history by relating an old street map with a street scene of new and old buildings and a lineup of folks who lived here. This is evidence of our history. The map tells you a lot about life along Napa Street in the 1880s. It was made by an insurance company, that's why it's so detailed. Something important here is missing. There was an old adobe building, the Sonoma Valley Courthouse, which stood at the corner where the bank is today. Then one day in 1854, ambitious people from the new town of Santa Rosa made off with the government documents and county business. The old courthouse collapsed in 1862, and that's why it's missing from this map. Saloons are abbreviated SAL. Pioneer Saloon was right here. Here was a dry goods and clothing store, then a U.S. post office, and a meat shop next door. There are 3 more stores marked by an S. The map shows the bank on the corner of Napa Street and Broadway, where the old courthouse stood. Napa was a shopping street. Here's Simmons Pharmacy. When it opened in 1903, Mr. and Mrs. Simmons and their shop became part of the new, modern Sonoma. They owned Sonoma's first automobile, and the shop had the town's first telephone. They made 3 ice cream flavors every day and kept them in a modern Frigidaire, the first in the county. They even had a special ice cream cone oven. Today, the building houses a woman's clothing shop. Across Broadway, the main approach to the plaza that ends at City Hall, you see a general store, then a barber shop. Union Feed and Livery sold animal feed and stabled horses. They stored cash in the hayloft in the gold rush days. Up until the mid-20th century, Union Hotel was a gathering place for local farm families. It was torn down to build a bank. In 1927, John Steiner, a popular Union Hotel barkeeper, left with his customers to start his own Plaza Tavern. John's gone, but Steiner's is still serving. Safeway was not on Napa Street, but around the corner, a mistake in the art. However, a sign for distribution without waste would be appropriate on the plaza today. The fountain in front of City Hall is full of carp. That began in 1917 when Frank Matsuyama donated a school of 24 Japanese fish. He and his wife, Georgiana Dolcini, farmed on Broadway where Adele Harrison Middle School is today. Many of the men across the top are simply hanging out. Not Celeste Grannis Murphy, pioneer newspaperwoman, editor, and co-publisher of the Sonoma Index Tribune from 1915 to 1949. Her nephew, Robert Lynch, and sons filled the doorway of the newspaper that they continued afterwards. So walk down Napa Street on the plaza today to see how much has changed. A lot of the old buildings are gone, but there's still lots to see.